G'day, that safety guy here. Spotters. You would think this is a no-brainer. I've been doing safety long enough. I've been in construction, specifically in Toronto, since like 1999. Spotters. If you can come into contact with, or you have the potential to hit a piece of equipment, a piece of property, a worker, you have to have a spotter. In fact, in our regulations in Ontario, right, here we are here. Operators of vehicles and machines and equipment shall be assisted by a signaler if either of the following applies. The operator's view of the intended path of travel is obstructed. A person can be endangered by the vehicle, machine, or equipment, or by its load. That is 104 sub 3. Sorry, sub 5. All right, so not only is it a law, and again, common sense, there's nothing common about common sense, but if you're in let's say you're inside of a building and you're putting together large pieces of equipment and you're limited for space, you need to have a spotter. That way you don't back into equipment that's worth tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, because last minute itis, I'm only going to be here for a second. Oh, I'm not going to hit anything. Then it happens. So that's why usually in orientations, you're specifically, job sites orientations, they're going to talk about having spotters, a necessity for spotters, and that spotter has to wear an announced safety blaze orange so they can be seen by the operator. I didn't have time. I thought I was closer. I thought I was far enough away. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, spotters are a necessity, inside, outside. All right. I personally, back in the day when I was operating a piece of equipment, didn't have a spotter. Spun my skid steer, and the counterweight struck the building and took out 2 panels of brand new siding that they had just put up, causing property damage. Maybe I'm getting a little bit pessimistic, I don't know. But operators of equipment, if you think you could potentially hit something or somebody, get a spotter. If it's nagging you in the back of your mind, maybe I should get a spotter. Stop, get a spotter. Don't let last minute itis, or I'm only going to be there for a second, get you. Because in safety, when it comes to incidents, accidents, reportable things, it's not a matter of if it happens. It inevitably is when it happens. Now I got to decide. Now I have to figure out. Now we have to investigate. And now we have to potentially replace an entire piece of equipment worth $100,000 because of what was once thought as maybe minimal damage. The internal workings of this particular piece of equipment were beyond repair. So take 5 minutes, get a spotter, do it right. Instead of hitting a piece of equipment with another moving piece of equipment, now we have to investigate. Now we have to find out who did it. And the worst part was the guy that did it didn't tell anybody till the next day. We found out through witnesses that this is what happened. So now you're in shit because you didn't own up to your own mistake. Now, I know it's tough sometimes to admit that you're wrong. It's better to admit fault than try to come up with excuses and explain to your superiors, explain to project owners why you didn't tell anybody. So, 104, sub 5, operators of equipment, all right? Even in your training, it tells you, get a spotter. And that includes elevated work platforms. It especially includes forklifts, excavators, rubber tire backhoes, front end loaders, dump trucks. Okay? You need to get a spotter. Spotters are important, right? And don't get the apprentice, the guy that just came from the shop. Get somebody with some authority. Get somebody with some tenor in their voice so you can be heard, and so that the operator pays attention. to the spotter so that we can mitigate, if not completely avoid, hitting equipment, property, or workers.